Hi there and welcome, cutters, to my heavy cargo javelin guide. I'm Icon and we will dismantle this type of ship here in 2 shifts. At least that's the plan. I will guide you through all the necessary steps and how I personally like to dismantle these, and hopefully I can show you 1 or 2 tricks that you haven't known of, or give you an idea about dismantling these ships that you find in any way helpful. Let's get started. So, unlike the refueling Javelin, the heavy cargo Javelin has a few different modules here. The most distinct thing that you can notice right away are these shipping crates. They are super heavy, and on the difficulty rating of 6, you're not supposed to. You don't need to. Oh, that was a bad tether. You don't need to do anything except for tethering them down to the barge. But keep one thing in mind. I made the experience that 1 tether has not enough power unless you have upgraded the tether duration time. So with 1 tether, I had those heavy cargo thingies stuck down there. I like to start with them when I do the heavy cargo javelins, because they are quite simple to dislodge, and you can also use up a lot of your tethers right away. Alright. So that was that. And for this scenario, I'll actually get myself to the hab right away, because I'm completely out of tethers, and tethers are, for me, one of the most important things in the game. So let's just get over there. While I'm at it, I'm also replenishing my oxygen reserves, because why not? And let's get into the ship. So the next step about the Javelin is we're going to depressurize the front section, and I really like to do 1 section of the ship per shift. So with the first shift we're going to do the front section, and with the second shift we're going to do the rear section. Of course you can change that however you want. So we're now getting inside here, and as I can see, there seems to be no air pressure anywhere. That's really good. Let's get over here. This is the cockpit, basically the pilot's seat. Oh, there's the data drive. Pick that up. Always pick data drives up. And the next thing we need to do is get into the interior of the ship, which is here. So as I can see, there's no air pressure here or anything we need to take care of. So let's get our split saw and weld away these 4 parts. I'm going to introduce a little bit of a different strategy compared to what I showcased in my refueling Javelin guide, so you can see a little bit of a different strategy. So here I'm pulling out this heat sink, and I removed the front plate as the first thing. So there we go. The heat sink is quite a heavy thing, so if you have no charged push for your grapple as I do here, it doesn't matter too much. It's not that heavy. Okay, so that was the most interesting part about this section, and oh no. Yeah, this can go into the processor now. These antennae, they can go right into the barge, just like that. Can easily weld them away. There we go. So that's that. And now, with this kind of ship, I really like to dismantle them a little bit differently. Like, I really like to go ring segment for ring segment here. So we're going to dislodge the airlocks. I really like this angle a lot. Ooh, that was bad. I missed the cut point here. Always keep in mind that every airlock has these sideways welding points that you need to get rid of. And try to not split saw into the airlock too hard. because that would lower the value. Okay, so we done that. Let's get back to the other airlocks. Airlocks are always the most annoying part about the ships, in my opinion at least, because they take a lot of work. Ideally, you catch an angle where you can just saw away these two cut points and the third one from the same perspective, but I don't seem to manage that every time I try. Okay, so speaking about trying, now we are going to try to pull that ring off. We're going to see, yes, it goes away. Press the Y button to slow it down again, and now we're going to whip that right into the processor. Okay, so next step, we can now dismantle the cockpit. For that, I'm going over to this side. Slow down. Get back to the split saw. And get up there. There's two of them as well. That's all we need to do. Now we can pull that thing away from the actual ship. There we go. So from here on, it's up to you if you want to salvage the main trunk of the ship or you want to go for the cockpit. I always like to go for the cockpit after this step. So we're going to dislodge these here. Those there. Oh, I gotta be careful with that soft crate. Soft crates are quite nasty. They can catch fire quite easily. Okay, once these are all away, the whole thing goes pop, and you can easily dislodge everything now. So we're going to... Whoop. There's something I keep forgetting about these. There's two computer terminals in these always, which are quite valuable to be pulled out. There we go. So we got 8 minutes left, so we're quite good in time. All right, now let's see, what's that? Aluminum. What the heck was that? All right, so I always try to have this kind of angle when I loot objects that have, when I loot structures that have a lot of objects in them. Because this makes it a lot easier to just toss that stuff in there. I'm well aware that I'm running out of oxygen here, but I really want to empty the cockpit before I go away. Can move these buddies as long as they're still together. And there we go. If there's anything left in there, I don't care about it too much. My experience is that overly much value to perfectionism is not really helpful in this game. So here we go. Like, don't try too hard to salvage every last bit and bob. It'll only slow you down and frustrate you. If there's sometimes something not getting processed perfectly, you know, such is life. Okay, so now as you can see, we're starting to dislodge that whole ship here, and now we're going to pull this section of the ring away, and let's see what budges. As you can see here, there's this panel. We're going to put that into the processor as we can. It's really helpful when you have the power shove already at this point, and here go the airlocks. They're worth quite a few points, so that's why I really like to give them this extra treatment. And this ring now goes into the processor. Alright. I got a sticker! Wonderful. So now we are almost done with this section of the ship. As you can see, we're now seeing... Let's get in that. This is now the dislodgement of the actual ring. But after that, I want to... Oh, look at that. This looks like we destroy it. There we go. So let's check out the angle here. That's a good angle. Alright. So, you know the drill. We split saw that. Get over there. And split saw all the cut points in one height section away right away. And we still got 5 minutes left. I'd say we're in a good roll here. Alright, that was the last section of the airlocks. And that should make it easy peasy to drag away that piece of ring now.
Knock out that work order before they turn the lights out on you. We wrap.
Let's see. We'll now find out if we forgot something or not. Oh, I can see something which we forgot. Here we go. Also want to get a hand on these power cells. But it seems like I forgot something here. So let's dissolve those tethers and check it out. Unless that middle cube is still just budged in there. I always have a hard time to find each and every last connector sometimes. But looks like this time we are just being trolled by some jammed parts. Here we go. Just moving the inside cube away and dissolving the tether right away, because I don't want that to move too far. As we can see here now, that's a big pile of nanocarbon, so I'll do this one with a triple tether actually, because I feel like we need it. And don't forget to loot those airlocks, which we set free a moment ago. And now we're pretty much done with the front section of the ship. We only have to clear out the cube now. Let's do that. And this was already salvage goal 1. With some luck, we'll also find now some time to get the middle section of the ship done. The middle section of the ship is not really much work, but it's still quite cool to dislodge it as well. Alright, so here we go again. Just try and get some angle where we can just toss these things into the barge without too much hassle. Keep in mind that door locks are really valuable. And keep in mind that ladders are really nasty and not worth the effort. Ladders are among these items which just exist to make your day miserable. There's a couple of items in every ship which is just basically there to troll you. Ladders are among those. Sure, they give a few points, but mostly their main quality is to make you work harder by being in your way. Alright. Trying to salvage as many electronics out of this one as possible, because these are worth a lot of money and are always not too much work to do. A personal terminal. Keep in mind that these small things also matter, especially airlock consoles are surprisingly valuable. Oh dang. I locked myself a bit. So here, this is a piece for the furnace, so we're going to send it there. Alright, we're running low on tethers, but I think we are just quite okay in terms of tethers. So, but, well, no. Tethers are not the problem. The oxygen is. Don't know if I'll last 1.5 minutes with what I got here, so I'll rather make sure I don't start to suffocate. Alrighty. But the front section is already in the salvaging process, so we did our main job already. So here goes the fuel and the nacelle system. We're going to look here for the flush switch, because we need to do that to remove the fuel out of the pipes. If you don't do that, these pipes will explode on you, and that's not fun. After that's done, you can just get to every nacelle. You have to weld through the pipe to set the nacelle free, and that's why we need to flush the fuel no matter what, because otherwise that thing would just explode on us. Stuck a bit. So you can of course do that without tethering these guys, but I made the experience that tethering the nacelles to the barge is one of the easiest ways to get the job done. So I'd say we'll... ah well, 3 or 4, that's okay. Quite an okay quota. So I wonder if I actually sawed that last one off. Alright, we're at 2.7 millions, and we're going to see you guys in the next shift. And here we go. So, second shift will be all about the rear section of the ship. I just want to finish my little job here with the nacelle from the last shift. And I haven't found a way to extract the fuel tank without exploding myself yet. So we're going to try this out this time. So that's the last piece of this Javelin model I'm not too sure about. But, well, maybe we'll find out here. I'm not entirely sure if it's really possible, but sometimes some ships, some parts just are not meant to be. Alright, so I'm starting to dismantle these antennae thingies right away before we can forget them. And here begins now the same procedure as usual. We get into the ship first and see if we need to decompress something somewhere. Keep in mind that this is entirely randomized, so the game never tells you if or which part of the ship is pressurized or not pressurized. The only thing I do see here is that this door lock is not interactable. And you see, there was still compressed air in here, and it's now decompressing due to the fact that we lasered open that door. If that happens, get close to a wall and press the X button. At least that's the default button for holding fast to a wall. That's really helpful if you don't want to get damaged. So here's the generator and the propulsion systems. Since our difficulty level is not that high yet, we are not seeing any fuel connectors inside, but this will happen in the future. So what I did now was I did dislodge this part of the ring again, and we're going to continue here. And then, well, since I don't have the power shove yet, let's weld our way out here. So these little thingies are just here to irritate you. Alright, now we get to tether that thing to the rear. And one of the biggest challenges here is our relatively near positioning to the furnace. We really have to work around that. So, with that being done, I'm dissolving the tether with the Y button. And the first thing I want to do is I want to get the reactor onto the barge, because, you know. And then we're going to dislodge the thruster and put that onto the barge as well. And now for this part of the ship to get it to where I really want it to be, I'm looking for the jaxes here. And as we see here, we're now at Salvage Goal 2. And I'm going to tether that part of the ship up here, and from there on it goes into the processor. I made really bad experiences with skipping that part of the procedure, because the furnace is hungry. And once something is in the suction power of the furnace, it's almost like black magic. The furnace doesn't seem to give away to weak tethers, you know. So now we're moving these parts, and as you see, the tether lifetime was not high enough there. So we're going to tether that bad boy back there. Keep in mind, tethers don't really cost you much. You will always have to go back home sometime later for tethers, so don't you worry about that. And if it's not tethers, it's oxygen. So There we go. Now, we got the airlock problems as we have them always, so... Ooh, I missed the cut point there. Not cool. So that cut point here goes away like that. So now I'm looking for these annoying buggers. There must be some on this side too. No? Alright. But overall, the Javelin is like a worm, which is segmented. And when you cut away these segments and drag them off like I do here, dislodging that ship comes quite easy, honestly. Alright, so, here is the cut point I was looking for. I knew that there was still one. Carefully adjusting the angle here. And my oxygen reserves are low. Okay, so let's... Oops. No, I confused myself. But that's just a thing with zero gravity I like to do sometimes. Alright, now I want to spend as many tethers as possible before I run home. And that's going to be these bad boys going to these jaxes. That one goes into the... and now we go. Only slowing down once we're close to the hab. With this slingshot method, you just tether yourself to something heavier than yourself and hold down the right mouse button. You can achieve amazing speeds, and there we go. And it also saves fuel. That's the nicest part about it. And you can do it with everything which is heavier than you. Just be careful that you don't accidentally try to grapple to something which is not heavier than you. You might accidentally toss things into your face and damage your helmet while doing so. So I think we have this one now gone. And as you see here, the procedure is very, very similar to the other Javelin. The main difference between these two Javelin models is, for me, that the heavy cargo Javelin has just these side arms, where you have the heavy cargo thingies, whereas the refueling Javelin always features an ion ring to dismantle. So we're here now at the last ring. And just like the last time, there's this panel coming off, and we are now able to put the airlocks into. And with this method, you can easily get your Javelins done in 2 shifts. The most annoying part is actually to get these segments into the processor without furnacing them by accident, from my experiences. So don't be too scared to use lots of tethers for that process. So now we want to get to that loot into our barge, so we're going to cut out a hole into the floor. There we go. This goes into the furnace. And with this, we can easily just grab everything which wants to go into the barge and have an easy life here. The only thing worth mentioning here, if you really want to be careful, you remove everything flammable first before you go for the electronics, because the electronics like to flame, to set things in flames due to the electricity arcs. So there's this battery pack. Battery packs are surprisingly valuable, actually. Just want to notice that. So, now there's one more stool in here. And beyond that, there's a few posters. Don't know. Can't stop myself from salvaging posters. So, there's only tables in there, and now to get that rear section off from the ship, we're going to go around here and split saw it off entirely. So far I haven't found a different way of getting it away from the middle section of the hull.
There's 5 minutes remaining in this shift.
Oh, look at that.
Get in while the getting's good. We wrap.
So
Salvage destroyed. Please avoid damaging valuables.
keep in mind that you need to get through these corner sections here as well. What this looks like now, we got it. So let's try it. If we work correctly, this whole thing will just move into the furnace now. So there are a few sections not playing nicely here, for sure. But alright, now the rest of the middle section is a little bit more difficult. So this is mostly processor material. And I haven't fully understood until now how I could dislodge the fuel tank, because the fuel tank is being held by all these pipes, yes. And there's this fuel junction here, but if I would go and attack that thing here, the whole thing explodes. If I attack that thing, the whole thing explodes. So the only idea I got now is to dissolve these, and that's what I wanted to try this time. Let's see if that'll works. Because right now, our big issue here is that, well, we can also do it like that, is that the big fuel tank is being held by, well, by these pipes. And, well, feel free to add in a how to do that in the comments below, because that's the only thing I haven't found out yet with all these heavy cargo javelins. But that doesn't really matter too much. We're going to keep puzzling about that, because now we can just put the rest of the structure into the processors here. Alright, we're out of tethers, but that's that. That's how I do my heavy cargo javelins. I know that there's still something about the fuel tanks, but, well, I haven't found out so far how that's supposed to work. But I didn't want to cancel my tutorial only because I had the last detail not under control yet. So we're going to put that mesh thingy in here, and the rest is just awful debris which we could now try to put into the processors, but, well, alrighty, so that's that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that was somewhat helpful, and like I mentioned before, if you know how to deal with the fuel tank in the center, I'd be very, very grateful to know how. And yeah, feel free to drop me comments down below. Beyond that, also give me a thumbs up on my video if you want to make it more visible to other people. That's how you do it. And of course, check out my channel. I do daily videos, so if you drop a subscription and turn on the notification bell, you won't miss anything in the future. In the description down below, you'll also find a link to my Discord community, to my Twitch channel where I do daily streams, and of course, last but not least, also ways and means to support me financially, because I do all my content for free and your help goes a long way. So here we are, 5 millions on the Javelin. I feel like that's a good gain for 30 minutes of gaming, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.